I want to ask you about the pitches. You give some suggestions in your book about the 6 pitches that we have nowadays that can be effective. Can you say a little bit about them for us?
Sure, sure. It's important to understand the purpose of a pitch. And there's some very interesting research that changed my own view on the purpose of a pitch. I had always believed that if I was pitching something to you, I was trying to convert you, okay? I would do a little show, and I would say, ba-ba-ba, and you would say, that's brilliant. And it turns out that's not the right way. That's not the right way to pitch. The right way to pitch, the most effective forms of pitching, is not a little show, a little performance trying to get you to convert, but it's basically, can I pitch in a way that invites you in to be a collaborator, that takes your point of view, that says you're a participant in all of it.
It's not a stage audience thing, but a collaborative finding.
That's a great way to put it. That's exactly, I wish I had thought of it that way to put it. That's exactly it. It's not a stage audience thing. It's a partnership kind of thing. That's precisely it. I'm going to actually use that one again. One of them is the one-word pitch. Is there one word that describes what you're about, what your company is about, so that when people think of you, they think of that word. When people think of that word, they think of you. If you think about a word like search, around the world, you say search, people think of Google. Yeah. And when they say Google, you think of search. That's one word equity. They own that word, essentially, in English search. And that's one way of pitching. What is your one word? There's some other very interesting research showing that questions can be very effective as a form of pitching because they invite people in to respond. And we don't use questions enough when we pitch. And what some interesting research shows is that when the facts are clearly on your side, pitching with questions can be very effective because questions are active. So if I ask you a question, your wheels have to turn just a little bit. And so you begin processing the information, and here's the important point. When you do that, you come up with your reasons for agreeing with me, rather than my reasons. When people have their own reasons for believing something, they believe those reasons more deeply. And so pitching with questions is effective. There's some really interesting research on pitches with rhymes, so that pitches that rhyme are often more persuasive. Yeah. And so you see this because rhymes increase what's called processing fluency. There's some really cool evidence showing that if something rhymes, you believe it more deeply because it's easier to process. So
it's easier to absorb.
There's some interesting, easier to absorb. That's exactly what it is. And so if you look at some of the social science of selling, some of the emerging social science, it suggests some very small things that we can do based on the evidence to be a little bit more effective.
So I'm gonna thank you very much, Daniel, for your time and for your ideas and everything else. And we come back in another video talking specifically about Drive, okay?
All right, and the great workshops that we're doing.
Yeah, thank you very much. Rodolfo, muito obrigado também pela sua presença aqui. E muito obrigado a você pela sua audiência. Ainda existe muito mais conhecimento para você compartilhar. Continue conosco, TV HBR Brasil.
Affirmative, as you say. So you can do this, you got this, you're good, very positive and affirmative in the way that you talk to yourself. You can do this, you're good,